Welcome back to Completing Football Manager 2024. My name is Anders, and we are now in Australia. We've gone all around the world so far, and this is our next nation to try and complete. If you're enjoying this series, please like this video and subscribe to the channel as well to see all of the content here that we're doing as we are trying to complete Football Manager 2024. That means going through every nation on the game and winning the domestic league title. Right, Australia. We're off to Western Sydney Wanderers for 2 years. Hopefully we'll be done by the end of that contract and not have to basically stay any longer than that. If you remember the last episode, the last nation we were in was South Africa. We've done that one very quickly. The last few we've gone through really, really quickly as well. And none of this sort of 5 years in Northern Ireland, for example, like we did not too long ago. We'll just go through all of this. I don't want to meet the media. Confirm. Right, we are now in charge of Western Sydney Wanderers. Let's have a look at them. It's a very nice stadium. And how they are doing. Best player is this guy, Angus Price, 24-year-old defender, Australian. No caps yet, but he looks, on paper, pretty good. Tackling of 13, marking 13, heading 10. Not sure what the standard is in Australia completely, but you know that looks pretty good on paper. 4-star, so he can't be too bad. Lachlan Sweeney, he's pretty good as well for 19 years of age, 15 finishing. Best striker in the squad as well, and he's our hot prospect. Right, how are things going in the league? Because we've joined mid-season. I say mid-season, there's about 5 games left of the league campaign, and we're 9th. Slim chance, 3 points outside of the top 6. So we could end up getting, we could, in theory, I'm not sure how we'd feel about this, if we manage to sneak into 6th and then win the finals or whatever they're called in Australia, is that technically completing, or would we need to win the league phase as well? TBC on that, but let's see. But we are probably an outside shot at the playoffs or the championship rounds or whatever they're called in Australia. Particularly with 5 games left. It's only 3 points, but there's a lot of clubs in that sort of 5 points from 4th down to 10th. Not much separating anyone, really, apart from Western United, who are running away with the regular season title. They won recently, last season as well. If we look through any recent history for us, no, not at all. Excellent. That's the competitions out in the Champions League nice and early. Out of the Australia Cup nice and early, so it's just the leagues. Not many competitions to play in Australia. 26 league games, a cup, a playoff, maybe some continental football. Not much to do, so it might be quick seasons. It might, hopefully, be nice and straightforward to play. Although I say that, and then I remember that there's registration rules and all sorts going on. And there's designated players and guest players and scholarship contracts. And now I think about it, Australia's probably not going to be that fun as well. I didn't like Canada with all their salary caps and registration. Can't get my teeth in. Registration rules, they kind of weren't very good. So let's hope Australia is better than that. Right, we'll play through the last part of the season. As I said, 5 league games left. Perth Glory are another club who I applied for the role over. They obviously haven't signed a new manager yet, but I've gone to Sydney instead for the Bright Lights. We've got a game against Sydney FC as well. So we play 5 games, have a bit of a proper look at the squad, and then go through pre-season and start the first season proper in Australia. Okay, a win and 3 draws to start things out in the league, and then we won in the qualifying round against Perth Glory on extra time. I don't know what that's qualified as for. I think it's the Australia Cup, but I'm not sure, honestly. Either way, the regular season, we ended up finishing 9th, which is where we started. We got 6 points, which wasn't enough to get anywhere near Newcastle Jets, who got 6 more than us. So, they were 3 ahead. So they scored 9 points in the last 5 games. So that was not going to be enough. We were never going to be enough. Never going to be enough to get there. The A-League finals were won by the Central Coast Mariners, who finished 3rd in the regular season. They are now Australian champions. So I'm guessing if it goes to holders there, it's the finals that really matter. Whoever wins the grand final completes the nation. That's how I'm going to treat it, I think, going forward. Right, the squad. Who has done well? Lachlan Sweeney, 9 goals, 19 years of age. He is probably going to be the one to pin our hopes on going forward. Average rating, he played twice. He's going as well. He's going. Okay, so all of the people who've got a high average rating are going at the end of the season. So, great. The top one who is staying is Matteo Babic, who is Australian right back. He is probably our best player who is staying, apart from Lachlan Sweeney. Basically, I'm going to have to try and rebuild the squad a little bit. Play inside the registration rules. I think we get 2 designated players, and then everyone else needs to be on a full-time contract, be lower than $4,000 a week, I think. And then there's scholarship contracts that don't count, and youth contracts that don't count, and we get like $25,000 a week as a salary cap, I think. We'll go through pre-season now. I think it's quite a long pre-season. The season itself doesn't start until October. I think the Australia Cup happens during pre-season as well. So after we get knocked out of that in the first round again, it's going to be a straight shot through the league. 30 games in total, even if we get to the final and win everything. I think we only play 30 games. So it hopefully will be quick here. I've got confidence that we can make a better side and get higher than 9th next season. But whether that's all the way up to 1st, probably not. Again, this guy, I'm pinning my hopes on him. The squad in general, quite old though. Look here, we've got 37, 35, 34, 34, 34, 32, 29. Obviously, these are all going to be aging up as we go through the next season. Quite a few old people. Not great goalkeepers either. Plenty to do. Right, we'll go through pre-season. We'll have a look at the squad as we get ready for the next campaign. And hopefully we'll start advancing Australia fair or something. Stay tuned. Okay, pre-season is done. And it's been quite a good pre-season because we've got to the final of the Australian Cup, which happens now. But we are joining now before the final, so we can have a bit of a preview for the final. And then the league season kicks off in 2 weeks' time as well. So, the Australia Cup, how have we got here? Let's have a look at our run. First round, beat Central Coast Mariners, who won the league title, the grand final last time around. Beat them on penalties. A little bit ropey. Then we smashed Wellington Phoenix, another A-League side, 4-0. Brilliant. That's a better start. Quarter-final, beat Western United. They're obviously a really good team. They won the regular season last time out. We beat them 5-1. Lachlan Sweeney got a hat-trick here. I told you he's one to look out for. Semi-final. In extra time, Melbourne victory again. Another A-League side, beat them 3-1. Sweeney once again on the score sheet. We'll have a look at some other players in a second. And then the final. We've got the final. We haven't done it yet. But Sweeney's got 5 goals. Joint top goal scorer. Hopefully he will propel us through and take our first trophy. Newcastle United Jets did win the Australia Cup last time around though. So they have got form and history in this competition. But this is the squad now. Obviously Lachlan Sweeney, we've mentioned him. We have offered him a new contract. He's not still on he is still on £60 a week, but he will start being paid more than that. It's probably only fair. 5 goals in 4 cup appearances. Currently our best player, if we look at the club info page. He's not listed as key player though. He's still hot prospect because this guy, Lyle Bald from Scotland, formerly of Newcastle, formerly of Blackburn, formerly of St Pat's as well in Ireland. In fact, was he in Ireland when we were in Ireland? Potentially. He might have been on loan at Blackburn though at the time, but he's had a good spell at St Pat's. He is now our first choice right winger. He's come in on a free. Quite a few transfers we go through as well. But he's here. He's ineligible for this game though. He's coming back from injury, so he's playing for the youth team, not the B team today. Anyway, we'll go through the transfers then because lots of stuff has happened that we need to cover. Transfers in this time around. Lyle Bald, we've mentioned, on a free. Then we've got Lucas Savenka, Czech guy from Karvina. We paid 50-odd grand in compensation for him. He's an attacking midfielder. We'll show you that. I don't even go through the tactic, I don't think, the first half, because we've changed it anyway. The last 5 games of last season, we've completely changed it, so don't worry about what we were playing before. Hyo Young Ki, 200 grand from South Korea, Incheon. He is our new first choice goalkeeper, replacing the 37-year-old who we'd got between the sticks before. He looks like a much better goalkeeper, definitely an improvement. And then we brought in Espen Setter for a bit more depth in midfield as well, and you'll see why in a second when you see our formation. Some of the guys have gone. We don't care about this guy though. He's gone. He was an attacking midfielder. Gone. Don't worry about him. Don't even look. He's off to Perth. Don't care. Next on. We also got rid of a few people on loan as well. And this guy was a good player, but he'd already agreed to go to Melbourne Victory before we even joined the club. So can't complain, really, that he's gone. Squad. No. Tactics. There we go. The 4-1-4-1. Now, this made an appearance on the channel when we were doing a PSG save back in the beta for FM23, I think. It was a similar... Well, it wasn't the same. It was the same formation. Similar tactic, 4-1-4-1. Hopefully, it will give us the same level of success because we dominated France with PSG. Of course, I mean, we were PSG. Of course, we dominated France. But you can check out those videos if you'd like here on the channel. They are around. So go and check out them if you want to see how we did with a similar, not the same tactic on a different game. But there we go. That's what we're playing, a 4-1-4-1. Hopefully, it unlocks everything we need it to unlock and we win the A-League. Look at the season preview. We're currently third, and we beat them on penalties, Central Coast Mariners, earlier this season already. So, and Perth Glory, well, we could have been managing them as well, but we chose not to. So, there we go. A good choice, I think. We could definitely be up there. That's what I reckon. We're going to be up there. If we can win the league and then win the grand final, well, if we win either of them, I'm counting as completed. I think probably the grand final's the one that counts, though. So, we'll see. Right, we've got a cup final to play, and then we're going to play through the first 13 games of the season, get to halfway, see how we are looking, and whether we are on track for winning and completing Australia on FM24. It feels like FM40 something. We've been playing it for that long. And then we'll be back to, I think, plenty of... In fact, if we look, we can see here, well, the nations will be next. So we've got Belarus, Finland, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, all loaded up, ready to go, or just about loaded up, ready to go for our next challenge after we've completed Australia. But this is where our focus is currently. The Isuzu Ute A-League is about to kick off. Right, we've got the cup final, and then we're going to go through the first half of the season, and hopefully we've got a trophy, and we're well on course to winning another. Let's go. Okay, halfway through the season, and it's been going quite well so far. Let's be quite honest. You can see here there's been a couple of defeats in the league recently, but generally speaking, we've done really quite well. If we look at the league table, we are currently top. 8 victories, 3 draws, 2 defeats. Those 2 defeats coming in the last 5 games. 5-2 at home to Adelaide and a 1-0 loss in New Zealand against Wellington Phoenix. We've drawn 3 games, but won the remaining 8 and currently sit top by a point ahead of Melbourne Victory. Western United up there as well as our Perth. We're kind of the runaway group to 4 teams within 3 points. Everyone else is kind of a little bit behind. Kind of basically going to be battling for those last 2 playoff places. But generally speaking, we've done really well, and we got through. Obviously, at the last episode, it was the cup final for Australia Cup, and we managed to win 2-0 against Newcastle United Jets. Both goals coming in the last few minutes of the game. It was a very tight affair until that point. But in the 87th minute, we managed to get a bit of a scramble going and snuck in the first goal in the final. And then a couple of minutes later, poor clearance allowed us to put the ball back into the danger zone. Cervenka, who scored the first, crossed it into the box, and Schroen got the second, and that was it. Daniel Schroen getting the winner in the 90th minute, 2-0 victory in the end to win the Australia Cup, get our first silverware down under. And from that point on, we didn't really look back. We had this great game here, 8-1 victory against Western United, who, if you remember from the league table, they're third. They haven't lost many games this season, but we beat them 8-1 with a Lachlan Sweeney hat-trick, which we'll get through as we go through the goals. There's a lot of goals to get through, but it's all been good stuff. There's Leo Bold, who was our signing in the summer. Yes, in the winter in Australia. I'm confused by the seasons in the southern hemisphere, but our winter transfer signing, whoever he is. Limbu was already with the club. He got the second. We kind of raced out to an early lead of 3 by the 22 minute mark. There's Sweeney involved. Finally, Limbu gets his second from range. Goalkeeper didn't know what to do. And then from a free kick, it was 4. Price headed down, Lachlan Sweeney getting his first of the game. He would eventually get the hat-trick. And 35 minutes in, we made it 5. So it was very much. Limbu getting a hat-trick there, so there's 2 hat-tricks in the game, Limbu and Sweeney. Second half, obviously already were 5-0 up. They couldn't really get rid of the ball. That was terrible. Sweeney from cuts across the box, scores his second. They got one back around the hour mark. It was already 6-0 though, so a little bit pointless them even continue playing. Bit sloppy. Dragonetti missing an interception, or sort of bumbling it into the box, and them getting on the end of it to score. But we didn't really stop there. We made it 7 with this one here. Schroen, who scored in the cup final, scored from range there to make it 7-1, and then Sweeney rounded out his hat-trick in the 85th minute. Seta, one of our other new signings, it involved Mitshueni, ball into the middle, Lachlan Sweeney getting his hat-trick, peeling away, 8-1 victory, 3 goals for Limbu, 3 for Sweeney. Just a fantastic all-around performance, and the league kind of, a couple of slip-ups here and there. We did a good double over Sydney around Christmas after losing our first game to Wellington Phoenix. Then we've lost to Adelaide though recently, but beat Central Coast Mariners 5-0 in the most recent game to leave us looking quite pretty at the top of the league. We're only 3 points clear of Western United, despite beating them 8-1. They've lost 5 games but won 8, so they're still in the hunt. We've drawn a few, which is why we're only 3 points ahead of them. But so far, it's been good. Hopefully, it's going to be nice and quick in Australia. I wasn't expecting it to be this quick, but a few transfers, obviously, over the winter have really strengthened the squad, and we are doing well. Basically, we've got this cheat code in Lachlan Sweeney, who is still on a youth contract, so only costing us £60 a week. He's made 16 starts, scored 21 goals. He is, if I could actually click on him for a change there, he is very, very good for a 20-year-old Australian. I'm surprised he's not broken into the national team yet. 6'2", 12 stone 8, great physicals, finishing of 15 is doing the business. As we said, 21 goals overall this season, 27 in his time at the club. 16 in the league, though, that is the key one. 16 league goals in 11 starts. He is tearing things up, and if we look at the league overview here, you can see he's well and truly the top goal scorer. We've got the top 3 on the average ratings as well. Mitshueni up there, Sweeney and Schroen, all doing the business. And it's just been pretty much plain sailing so far. We've done really well. Humphrey Mitshueni is a top performer, just ahead of Sweeney. And that, Lyle Bold also up there, another new signing. It's going well. It's going too well so far. And as I think I said before, winning the regular season isn't what counts, because when you get to the past winners page here, it's who wins the finals. So, or is it? Oh, I'm confused. Maybe I'm just going to try and win both, I think. So you get the regular season victory there, and then the finals, but the holders there. In fact, that's what I mean to say. So where it says, so Western United won the regular season, but they aren't listed as holders here because it was Central Coast Mariners who won the finals. So that's what you need to win, I think. Basically, I'm going to try and win both in order to complete Australia, and then we'll be back off to Europe. Fingers crossed. Anyway, might not happen this season. We shall say. Obviously, playoffs and final series are a little bit harder to manage. They're just one-off games going through rather than a full league season. So if we win the regular season and don't win the finals, we'll have to do it all again next time around. But hopefully it won't come to that, and hopefully you'll be able to tell from the length of this video that it hasn't come to that. Fingers crossed. I'm saying that before we've played the rest of the season. We might not even win the league. Right, second half of the season coming up. I'm not planning on making any transfers, so I don't think you really have much scope to improve the side. So we're just going to go through and see how we get on in the second half of the season. Okay, it is the grand final, and as you can see, Western Sydney Warriors went ahead with a header at the back post after about 70 minutes. Then Robes got a penalty to make it 2, and then in the 90th minute, who else but Lachlan Sweeney would step up to slot home the third goal in an absolute demolition of Melbourne victory. 18 shots to 7, 6 on target, 4 for them. 3 goals, all in the second half. Therefore, at the Western Sydney Stadium, Western Sydney Wanderers have won the grand final of the A-League finals. We also won the regular season league as well, ultimately by 7 points, which was pretty good. We went on a bit of a rocky run towards the end of the season. Picked up quite a few draws. 4 of the last 7 games we drew, but we didn't get a defeat since January, basically, after I think the last little check-in was here just before the Central Coast Mariners game, which we won 5-0. Maybe it was just after that. Either way, we lost to Western United 2-1, despite beating them 8-1 earlier in the season, but then continued a good, solid run to eventually top the table from Melbourne Victory. So it was the top 2 teams in the league who got through to the grand finals. But in the end, our route through was nice and simple. Semi-final saw us overcome Perth Glory in 2 legs, 5-3 on aggregate, and we then beat Melbourne Victory 3-0 in the final, which was nice and straightforward, which means we've completed Australia. Well done. Another nation ticked off the list. Lachlan Sweeney got 27 goals from his 28 starts, just 20 years of age. He is definitely going to be one for the future in Australia. I'm surprised, as I said earlier, not into the Australian lineup just yet, into the national team, but he will definitely be there at some point in the future, lighting things up domestically. But he wasn't our best performer. That accolade goes to Humphrey McSwaney, who was on the left flank. He's also a left back, but he's definitely a really good left winger, really highlighting our crazy tactic of the 4-1-4-1. To basically get the best ratings. We had quite a few injuries towards the end of the season as well. True, Price and Houle all out injured for the final. Between them, nearly, 70, 60? No, hang on. 20, 52, 80 is the number I'm looking for. Nearly 80 starts between the 3 of them across the season, and they all missed the final, which meant we were a little bit light going into it, but ultimately it didn't matter. We ended up winning. We had a great run. A great time in Australia, just over 14 months, I believe, 400 and something days if we have a quick look at our history. But ultimately, it's another 3 trophies because the A-League regular season and the finals all count. Both count as trophies. So 430 days in charge, 40 games, only 4 defeats, 3 trophies. So we've just absolutely smashed Australia, another nation out of the way. We've done all of this block now, and now we're off to see what's out there in Europe if we go from available jobs and get rid of the international jobs because, well, we don't want international jobs. We just want club jobs. Romania, Hungary, Belarus, they're all potential nations that we could be going to if we look at the leagues that are playable at the moment. Belarus, as we mentioned, Finland, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia. They are the nations we're going to next in this next block, so there's plenty to choose from. We could be going anywhere, but we are definitely leaving Australia. As we can see here, we're going to resign from Western Sydney Wanderers after just 440 days. They are not happy about it, but sorry, we're done. We're out of Australia. We're moving on to pastures new. We've stepped down. Once again, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, if you're enjoying this series, please like and subscribe. Share it around with all of your friends as well. Get more people watching it. We're trying to complete Football Manager 2024. And there we are, Australia, done. Next up, somewhere in Europe. See you then. Thanks for watching.